as any good Toastmaster does, bases his speeches on topics he finds interesting. Oftentimes, that is topics at the intersection of practical, everyday life and the intellectual or academic. Today's speech topic is an abstract science. After all, our speaker has a degree in biochemistry. Please welcome Derrek in his speech titled Phosphorus and the Golden Stream.
Do you know who you don't see or hear much about in today's modern world? Alchemists. Yes, alchemists. Those crazy, mad scientist persona, the guys who try to turn lead or everyday objects into gold, the oldest get-rich-quick scheme. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, tonight I want to tell you about one such alchemist back in the day. His name was Hennig Brand. He was a German alchemist, and he was fascinated with the golden stream. Now, the golden stream, it wasn't some magical stream in the mountains with gold, or the golden stream of chocolate on Willy Wonka. It's the same golden stream that me and you probably saw today when we went to the bathroom. Yes, the golden stream of urine. What Hennig Brand did back in 1669, he was fascinated with urine. It's gold, right? If I boil this down, maybe it'll make a solid gold bar. Talk about get rich quick. So what he did is he put out pots by all the taverns and collected this massive amount of urine. And down in his little alchemist lair, he boiled this urine down. A lot of heat, a lot of pressure, boiled it down. And then all of a sudden, this mass began to glow on its own. And so he paraded around this glowing ball around Europe. I don't think he told the public what it was. But what Hennig Brand discovered was phosphorus. Yes, the element phosphorus. 15 on the periodic table. It's the same phosphorus that is the building block of life. Our DNA has a lot of phosphorus in it for the bonds. Also ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is the main energy molecule in our bodies to make our muscles work. Phosphorus is highly flammable, so the military use white phosphorus and red phosphorus as flares. It's also makes up the phosphoric acid in Coca-Cola. And, that's right, and phosphorus is the main essential fertilizer in potash. And so why am I telling you all this? Well, phosphorus, because it's used in fertilizer, it is overall element on the earth, it's a limited resource. So we're mining the phosphorus out of the ground, we're applying it onto our fields. Well, 80% of that runs off into the ocean, leaches off into fields. Well, once it's in the ocean, it's hard to recover. Last year, there was a report that came out saying when our peak harvest of phosphorus was going to occur, just like there's a report out about peak oil. When will the earth hit its maximum production level of oil? They came out with this with phosphorus. It's actually 2030. That's only 10 years away. So what happens when the world runs out of phosphorus? Well, we can't use that as a fertilizer, put it on our fields. We might not be able to feed ourselves or the rest of the world with phosphorus, with this fertilizer that is essential for our farms. How are we conserving phosphorus? Well, there's this group in Vermont that's taking a hands-on approach to conserving phosphorus. A gal by the name of Kim Nace from Brattleboro, Vermont. She studied sanitation toilets and composting toilets. She actually started an institute called the Rich Earth Institute to study composting toilets and what we can do to use human waste as a resource. So what she did, much like Hennig Brand did back in 1669, she collected a bunch of urine. And to do that, she had a float in the local parade advertising, get people to save their urine and give it to her. I guess that just goes to show the type of people you have in Vermont, having a parade, be a float in the parade for urine. But I don't know, I've been to Vermont once, and there's a couple screwed with up there. So they ended up collecting 600 gallons of urine. Talk about a humongous amount. And what they did is they pasteurized it, much like you would milk, and then they sprayed it out on a hay farm as a fertilizer. That hay farm turns out doubled the yield of hay, utilizing the phosphorus in urine. Quite fascinating. There's a bit of tidbit that each person, you and I, we pee about 125 gallons a year. And the phosphorus in that 125 gallons sprayed out onto a field could fertilize 300 pounds of wheat per year. I think that would feed me for a year. So phosphorus, yes, it's an essential element for life. We have to have it as a fertilizer for our fields. It's a limited resource, the world's running out. But maybe the answer to conserving phosphorus isn't in our engineering ability or our ingenuity, but maybe the idea to conserving phosphorus lies within us, or more precisely, within our bladders. That golden stream that Hennig Brand discovered back then, maybe he was onto something. The bright idea of the phosphorus in urine.